All right, good morning, everyone. This is truly a great day for the city of Chicago and a day we are celebrating. Right off the top, let me congratulate the entire Sky organization for bringing us this incredibly important moment, including, of course, owner Michael Alter, John Rogers, and coach James Wade. And I want to give a special shout out to our Sky players who have been tremendous leaders through this pandemic. And of course, a special welcome to our newest member, Candace Parker. Candace, as I related, my wife Amy and I, who's here with me, are huge basketball fans, and we have been following your career since we saw you in a tournament your senior year at Naperville Central. All of your success on those great Tennessee teams led by the legendary coach Pat Summitt, your prolific Olympic and of course, professional career. We are so proud of you and happy to welcome you back home to Chicago, where your love of the game began. We both know you're gonna love it here, and we are definitely gonna love you back. I'll turn things over in a moment, but I just wanted to say that one of the things I'm most excited about is what you being here will mean for our young girls. Our 12-year-old daughter is beyond herself, beside herself with excitement. And it's going to mean a lot for girls all across the Chicago region, both on and off the court. You know as well as anyone how the eyes of our girls light up when our basketball stars visit them in their communities. And it's something I know will be happening a lot more now that you're in town. And I personally can't wait to see that happen and anxious for the start of the season. Congratulations again to you, the entire team, and the Sky organization. And once again, on behalf of all the Sky fan base and season ticket holders like the Lightfoot Eshelman family, welcome home to Chicago. And now it's my pleasure to turn it over to team owner Michael Alter. Go Parker.
What do I do? Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Amy. I can't tell you how fantastic it is to have our mayor and First Lady such huge fans of our team. It's really special. I want to welcome everyone and thank you all for being here. Of course, the biggest thank you to our very special guest, Candace. It would be an immense understatement to say we are incredibly excited to have you. Just one of the best players to ever play the game, coming back home to Chicago. It's just, it's so exciting. I really just want to say a couple of things. One is I want to give credit to our GM and coach, James Wade, who really, masterminded this and made it happen, and really give him all the credit that he deserves for doing that. I think it's a tremendous reflection of the fact that players love to play for James. They respect him as well, but they enjoy playing with him, and really a reflection of the culture that he's put together over the last couple of years. And it's the reason why we are so happy that we've extended our contract with him to be here for a long time. And the last thing I just want to note is the tremendous support of the rest of the players on our team, especially our star players who were also very much involved in the recruiting of Candace. And I think that is just a huge reflection of their character as well. I mean, there's not even an iota of jealousy, quite the opposite. I talked to them, as James did, after the season, and going through the list of free agents and saying, what do we need? Who do we need to make this team a championship team? And Candace's name was the top of everybody's list, and everybody is so enthusiastic that she is coming here. And I think it just shows that everyone's focus is on winning a championship, and that's the priority. And everyone do whatever it takes to do that. So I really want to thank our players and commend them for their commitment. And I know how thrilled they are to have Candace here as well. With that, I'm going to recognize my co-owner, my partner, and my good friend, John Rogers.
Well, thank you, Michael. It's an honor to be here. This is an extraordinarily important day for all of us to be able to have one of the greatest players of all time coming home to Chicago. It's an extraordinary thrill. I would just like to say, as I'm introducing Coach Wade, is that Coach Wade was the point guard. And like our mayor was a point guard at Washington High School, we all know point guards are particularly great leaders. They're smart, they're tough, they have vision. And Coach Wade had the vision to see that we could bring Candace here to Chicago and bring a world championship to Chicago. So it's so exciting, and it's such an honor to be able to introduce the former Coach of the Year on the WNBA, Coach James Wade.
Okay, hello everyone. I just want to reiterate how monumentous this day is, and I know I'm going to answer some questions later, but just what it means to us as an organization, me personally, and to our team. Not the fact that she's a great talent, generational talent, but what we needed for our team was a leader, and it was evident in the bubble. We needed someone that would be there for us through hard times. That and just to say some things about her career is that she's the type of talent and the type of person where she has expectation. So she has expectation. When you talk about a team that's, every year the team that she's on, you automatically consider her team as a championship contender. And I felt that's what we needed. And so once we felt that there could be an opening, we went at it 100%. We were all hands on deck. And it wasn't just about myself, but it was about the team, about the organization, about making her feel comfortable. And about putting her in a position and putting our team in a position where it can eventually lead to being contenders or winning the championship. That's been our goal since I've come here, and it won't waver. And adding Candace to that effective is only going to magnify that. So we're excited and we're happy and we're stoked, and we're going to continue to play our brand of basketball. It's a brand of basketball that's full of excitement, full of joy, and you can see it, and it's full of energy. And so with no further ado, I would like to introduce Candace Parker.
Hey everyone, Mayor Lightfoot, First Lady, Michael Alter, John Rogers, James Wade, the entire coaching staff, entire front office at Chicago, as well as the team. I'm so excited to be home, and I say that from the bottom of my heart. I didn't realize how amazing the Chicagoland area was with basketball in general until I went out into the world. And I saw how truly special and how they really embrace their homegrown talent. And so when this opportunity came about to be able to come home and to play in front of my family and friends and to play for a fantastic organization like the Chicago Sky, it was a difficult decision, but ultimately I'm very excited and proud to be able to come home. And I think that's the biggest thing, is just being able to bring my family back. My daughter is super amped. She's excited to be able to play in some of the gyms and on some of the playgrounds that I was playing and grew up playing basketball. My friends, my family, my parents both still live in the Chicagoland area. And this is, honestly just a family event. So I really appreciate you all welcoming me back. The team has been amazing in terms of just reaching out, and we've already started to develop that bond and that relationship. And I think that's what it's about. You learn, as this orange ball has taken me all around the world. I'm currently in Atlanta to talk about basketball tonight on television. And so I think when you realize how special this little orange ball and how many journeys and events and memories and relationships that you've established because of it, you really feel special. I left Naperville at 18 years old, and now I'm returning at 35. I'll be 35 when I return. And the lessons I've learned being gone have brought me back home. And I really appreciate it. I promise I'll give my blood, my sweat, my tears, my energy, but you're going to be able to see how we play, that we're really passionate about playing for this organization. So thank you so much for this warm welcome. It means the world to me. And I'm excited. Let's get to work.
All right, thank you, Candace. And we'll now start taking questions. We'll start with Jamal Collier from the Tribune.
Oh, hi, Candace. Welcome, first off, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Just, I guess, just a little bit about this process. Like, how long had you been thinking about Chicago as a potential possibility? Is this something that really developed through this offseason, or is it something that you had been kind of maybe in the back of your mind here for some time?
Well, I think, it's one of those things that to get to know me is, I kind of weigh my decisions, but I don't think that this was decided, a long time ago. This was within, a couple weeks of the free agency process where I really could envision myself going home. And, I really didn't take lightly this decision, but ultimately, I followed my heart and I followed my passion. I think during COVID, it really has, shined a light on how important it is to be around family and friends. And I'll tell you, I don't waver. When I got a call from my grandma the next morning on FaceTime, holding up the newspaper, so excited that I was coming home to play and that she was going to be able to come see me play. So I think this wasn't a decision that was made a long time ago, but it was a decision that, a lot of thought went into. And ultimately, during the free agency period, I decided this is where I wanted to be.
Michelle Steele from ESPN.
Hey, Candace, congratulations and welcome back home.
Thank you.
What was the moment where, you said that this came together, relatively recently. Was there a moment that brought this to the forefront that sort of cemented in your mind that I'm going to do this, I'm going to go back home?
Fortunately, I really have a great support system. Honestly, my family and my friends, but then also my extended family, my friends that I lean on. I lean heavily on my brother, my parents, both of my brothers. And, obviously I have a lot of quote unquote brothers in the NBA. And I think the biggest thing is when you're going to leave someplace you've been for an extremely long time, I don't take that lightly. And, LA is home. It's still going to continue to be home. I'd like to say I have the best of both worlds, and I'm living in LA in the winter and I'm able to come to Chicago in the summer, which is the best city in the world in the summer. So I think I reached out to a lot of different people during this process and just talked to them about the experiences that they've had going through free agency, maybe possibly leaving a place they've been for a long time or a place where they've won a championship. And ultimately I got some pros, some cons, and I kind of weighed my option, and I go to sleep on it and I make my pro and con list, and then I live with it. And I went to sleep, made the decision probably about a week ago, I would say. And I just haven't looked back. I've been really excited. It's been bittersweet, obviously, but I'm very excited to join this team.
Doug Feinberg, Associated Press.
Hey, Candace. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
I have a two-part question. Was there anywhere else you would have considered besides Chicago to leave LA for in your free agency discussions or thoughts? And the second part is, you've been around this league for a while, obviously, and you cover the NBA now, and for obviously your other job. This is a seismic shift. I mean, usually players in the W don't leave their franchise to go somewhere else to play of your stature. Do you see this something maybe that now maybe more players may do this and test the waters free agency wise? In the past, the league, because of the core, they couldn't really do, but there may be more players now looking to go elsewhere down the road as opposed to playing their career for one team their entire career, so to speak.
The first answer to your question regarding anywhere else, no. it was Chicago or Los Angeles, and have always been my only two places that I wanted to play. For me personally, I want to emphasize that I was brought up as, you finish what you start. And for 13 years, I feel as though I gave everything I had to the Sparks organization, as well as they gave everything they had. And at this point in time, I feel as though contractually, I was an unrestricted free agent. I'm not leaving disgruntled. I'm not leaving throwing stuff or upset or angry or demanding a trade. I'm leaving because contractually I can go where I want and I can make that decision. And I think player empowerment is something that is super important and talked about more. And I do believe that, the WNBA and the NBA kind of mimic each other. Whether my journey gives others the power to do what they want to do, I think it's great. But I think I do want to emphasize, like, I did finish what I started. And 13 years was a long time, but ultimately, I've said this time and time again, I have way more basketball behind me than I do in front of me. And that's just facts. And I felt like the basketball that's in front of me, I wanted to play in Chicago.
Maddie Kenny from the Sun-Times.
Hi, Candace. So kind of just following up on that question, I know your agent said like this was a very difficult and emotional decision, and you even said earlier in this press conference about how difficult it was. So can you kind of just like go into what really went into your decision, not only to come to the Sky, but more so to leave the Sparks after 13 seasons there?
It just felt like the right decision coming home to Chicago and playing in front of, the fans, the city, the people that I grew up in front of, and have obviously evolved. And a lot of that had to do with me living in Knoxville and me living in Los Angeles and Russia and, Istanbul and China. Like, I've had so much development since I've left here. And so I don't know if it was ultimately about me. And I know this sounds cliche about leaving the Sparks. It was more so about me joining Chicago. And, just the connections I've had. Allie Quigley and I don't know if you saw my post yesterday, but her and I took a picture our senior year in high school. And, it was a locker room picture. I think it was in the Chicago Sun-Times. And just to like look back and reflect, we played together in Fenerbahce. And then obviously Suit and I have played together with USA Basketball, Diamond Shields. We recruited her to Tennessee. Just the different connections and the outreach and the amount of support and, people reaching out. I think that was a big thing, is in terms of coming home to play in front of family and friends, but also a team I feel as though that I can add extreme value to. And with that being said, relationships are super, super, super important to me. And I've always been taught by Coach Summit to chase people and passion. And I felt like that's what Chicago Sky had to offer. And, obviously surrounded with Chicago City and where I'm from. And it was a difficult, difficult decision. But I think ultimately, like, I chose the Sky because I wanted to follow my heart.
Ari Chambers from Bleacher Report.
Hey, Candace. So I know that your home state means a lot to you, and the court that you grew up on, you actually have it named after you. But what's the legacy you hope to leave for Chicago basketball, beyond Naperville basketball, and for Illinois in general for basketball? And also a follow-up question. What I know you said about your grandma, FaceTiming you and saying, yeah, I get to see you play. What did your family say? What did your family say when you go play?
Sorry.
You good?
I still have not figured out how to work notifications on my phone. So
hey, your grandma's fine.
Oh, I gotta get it. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to. Can I get this back up? Okay. All right, I'm back in. All right. Sorry. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Eat the whole thing, Candace, because it's your world. So
thank you.
I know how much your home state means to you, and the court where you grew up, you have a you have a court named after you. So what's the legacy you want to leave for Chicago basketball and also for Illinois basketball? That's part one. And part two is, what did your family say when you told them you were going to come home? I know your grandma was so happy that she got to see you play, but other than that, the rest of them.
Well, I think legacy is obviously what you leave behind, but it's also what you take with you. And I've taken so much of what Chicagoland basketball means. I mean, we just spoke to Mayor Lightfoot earlier, and she alluded to the fact that she saw me play in high school. So it's like the mayor saw me play when I was 17, 18 years old. That's Chicago. And I've taken that with me, and I've taken that legacy with me across the world, across to LA. And now I'm coming back with all of those different experiences and values and everything that I've learned in my process. And I hope it shows. I hope it shows, and not just the way that we carry ourselves on the court, but off. And this community means so much to me, and the person that it's made me. And I think my legacy is I came back, and I wanted to come back. And this was not, this was a choice. And so I think just, if anything that I'm leaving behind, it's follow your heart, do your best, chase people and passion. And I don't think you can fail. And so obviously we have our sights set on a championship. I think that there's 11 other teams in the WNBA that are focusing on trying to win. But at the end of the day, you know, I can live with the result if we do it the right way, if we go out there and play with passion, purpose. And I think that's what I want my legacy to be. And then secondly, I think the best reaction, second to my grandma, my dad kind of knew I was thinking about it. So I don't think it was just like breaking news when I told him that I decided to go to Chicago. But my best friend, I called my best friend. We've grown up together. We've known each other since I was 11 years old. She was out with her boys, you know, building snowmen because it just snowed in Chicago. And, you know, I was sitting outside in sunny LA and in 75-degree weather. And I was like, guess what? I'm coming to Chicago for the summer. And her reaction was just priceless. Like, we're going to be able to like hang out like old times. And like, she has kids now and our kids are going to be able to grow up together. So I think it's just that type of excitement. And immediately I have texts like, I'm getting season tickets. Like, I'm coming to see you play like in high school. So I think it's those type of reactions that make me really validate my choice and my decision. And I'm really excited to come back, like I said, and join the Sky family.
Great. Charles Hallman has a question for James and Candace.
First of all, Candace, congratulations on your decision. I have a two-part question to follow up with you. When you mentioned about, you talked to many players about making a decision like that. Was Simone Augustus a part of that group, because she left Minnesota after a number of years and came to LA? And then secondly, this is the second year of the new CPA, not new anymore, but was this what part of this was the fragrancy and the movement of it has been unprecedented? Was this something that you hoped would happen when signing this new CPA 2 years ago?
Well, first, I was able to speak to Simone about her experience last year, and, you know, just how much it took to leave a place that she's been and won championships with and grown with. And I know how difficult of a decision that went in for her, because I was a part of that process. This time I didn't reach out to Moan, but I think I took with me her experience and her words. I think two people that I really wanted to get their advice from was Dwayne Wade and Kevin Durant. And those were two players that I have a close relationship with, as well as I value their opinion and their experiences, and both had completely different experiences. And Dwayne Wade coming back to Chicago, then going to Cleveland and going back to Miami. And then Kevin Durant, you know, now going to Golden State, which took a lot. And then going from Golden State now to the Brooklyn Nets. And the biggest thing that I got from them was like, you need to follow your heart. You need to follow what you want and what you desire, and let all of that other stuff take care of itself. And so I think that's what I ultimately did. And, you know, I think I forgot the second part of your question, but
second part is just the second part was just the CBA.
Okay.
You know, yeah, and
Gotcha.
being
All right.
the free agency now being a big deal as it wasn't many years ago.
Yeah, I think it's super important. Player empowerment has been a huge, I would say has played a huge role in the way that we're kind of navigating even the CBA and the different player agreements. But at the end of the day, you know, I think we look at basketball players or we look at athletes as it's another form of a job, but that's the way that you kind of support your family, and it's a job. And I look at it like if I was a manager in LA and I had the chance to go home and be with my family, my friends, would I take that managing job in Chicago? And so I think ultimately, yes, there's other factors that factor into it with being an athlete, the city, the fans and things like that. But ultimately, like, we're people and we want to do what makes us happy. And I think that it's great that, you know, our executive committee, our Terry Jackson, they all make sure that that players are going to have the choice to be able to do what they want to do.
Thank you, Candace. And a question for Coach Wade. On signing, Candace, and just the signing of free agencies all across the league, how important that is to give this league even more validity, because the buzz that's been happening over the last couple of weeks of who was going, who wasn't going, has been unprecedented.
Well, I think it's important. Am I the only one that's hearing
Yeah,
it?
we're getting a little feedback. Let me just figure out what's going on here. You can try again. No, you're not insane. Yes.
I was wondering. I was like, am I going?
All right.
Could you ask that again, Charles?
Yes, Wade, James, just in terms of just, you know, signing Candace and all the signing that's been going on in the last couple of days, you know, this has been unprecedented.
Sorry, you guys. Charles.
Okay. I think I got the gist of Charles' question. Just let me know if I'm off a little bit. But no, I think the signatures, I think they're good for the WNBA. I think when a player has the right to choose where they want to be, and to, you know, navigate how they want to do it. The one thing that, you know, I try to tell our team is that, you know, the game, your game belongs to you. It's yours. And, you know, the only thing that we should do is add to that. And so if, you know, if playing in another market, or even playing at home, or playing wherever you want to play, and you have the right to that, you know, that joy is what matters the most, because that's when you play your best. And what we want to do is see these magnificent athletes play at their best. So the fact that they get to choose, and you know, now with the new CBA, it's probably going to be a lot of movement. So, you know, I think it's good for the WNBA. It gets us a lot of coverage. You know, it allows players to play at their best. And so I think it's good for everyone.
Congratulations, James. Good luck.
Thank you.
Eric Wilson, the Sports Arena.
Coach, as always, great to see you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I just got to ask you, you know, when this decision came down, can you just talk a little bit about the conversation you had with Candace about not only her expectations, but also yours, as far as, you know, making the Sky that much more of a dominant team?
I mean, after the decision, because it was a lead up, so that was me selling what the possibilities could be, and you know, how we expected to play, and you know, what we wanted from her. Once she decided, she told me even before, if I come, I'm coming to ball, you know, and you know, and automatically, you know, that, okay, this is what the expectations are. We want to win, and she wanted to win, and that's what it ultimately came down to. And the fact that we felt that we needed her to win was the most important thing. And it was not just about, you know, the player who she is, but even the person, and seeing you know, how she's evolved as a player, and the fact that she's carried a team on her shoulder for so long. You know, we felt that we can help ease that. And but at the same time, we needed someone, that caliber player, to help us do that. And so that's the expectation from both sides that we had, and those were the discussions that we had.
Okay. Larry Snyder, ABC. Larry, I think it's on the mic. Larry, I think that's your mic that's making that sound.
Larry's the baby of the bunch. Okay. All right.
Okay. You back, Larry. Yeah, I'll call you in a second. 1 second. We'll go to Maggie Hendricks.
Hi, Candace. Sorry, James. Question for Candace here. I'm wondering if you think that this team now with you has what it takes to win a championship, and then what would that mean for your legacy?
Man, I think about the players that have had the opportunity to go home and play, and to play where they grew up idolizing. Those that know me know I am a huge Chicago sports fan. I've even brainwashed my daughter into being a Chicagoland fan. And so, for me personally, I think playing here in itself holds so much value, but I would say also winning a championship, back home would mean so much. And honestly, this isn't me, just coming home to play. This isn't me just going somewhere. I mean, Chicago has great players. They have a great organization. And I've played against them for a number of years, and, the last couple under Coach Wade, and I like what they're doing, and I like how they play. And I think that in terms of fit and pieces, for me, I think I add a piece to that, and they add so much to me. And I think we kind of, when you're able to find that connection where you can benefit a team and the team will benefit you, and vice versa from every player down the line, I think that that's where you go. And so for me, yes, our sights are set on a championship, but with that being said, we understand that there's the day-to-day. We understand we have to get to work. We understand we have a lot to do before that can happen. But yes, I would be lying to you if I didn't, have that definitely in my mind.
Edwin Garcia.
Yeah, Candace Parker, first off, welcome home. So glad you've joined the Chicago Sky family here. You've already accomplished so much as a player, 5-time All-Star, WNBA championship, WNBA Finals MVP, 2 Finals MVPs. So my question to you is, what do you want to work on your personal game during your 2 years here with the Chicago Sky?
Now, I'm not quite as old as some of the players that are dominating the NFL and the NBA right now, but I am taking notes, and a lot of it is taking care of my body, honestly. I just want a fair shot at this. I want to be healthy, and I'm going to do everything in my power to come in the best condition that I can. And then I think as long as, every coach says when they're on a great team or when they have great pieces, you just want to stay healthy. And that's what I want most for anything, is to have a great shot at it, because I feel like if we have a fair shot of it, or a fair shot at it, our chances are great. And so I would say, just in terms of just staying healthy, staying diligent about that. But then also, I'm excited to be able to use my knowledge for the game, IQ. I think it's a perfect storm in terms of just the way that we kind of see the game. And Coach Wade, I think you always have to have a great relationship with your point guard. And Sloop, I've been an admirer of her for a very long time. And then you know how it is with the WNBA, you got to have shooters. And I feel like the Sky have plenty of those. Allie Quigley, she's dotted my eye a number of times on opposing teams. So I would say, just in terms of the pieces that kind of fit together in the style of the game that we're playing now, I'm just going to continue to get in really good shape so that we can get out and play fast.
Rob Schaefer with NBC Sports.
Thanks, Kelly. My question's for James. Obviously, signing a player of Candace's stature, that's landmark, that's historic for the franchise. What do you think it does from a reputational or from a stature perspective, across the WNBA for you guys? And have you seen the effects of that kind of already? And how do you expect it to manifest?
I've seen it, especially when you talk to other agents or the players themselves, and them wanting to come play with us. I think we've traditionally been a team that it's been hard for to get free agents here, but we've done a really good job, I think, of being able to retain the free agents that we have, the good players that we have, and I think that was the first key in actually building something attractive to people want to know what's going on. And what you see out of our team when they play is you see the chemistry on the floor in wins and in losses. But fortunately, we've been able to string along more wins than losses, and so you see the potential there. And I think once you see that potential, it's something that you don't rule out possibilities. When you get a player of this caliber, I think it can open up eyes. And now when you get a player of this caliber, you start having expectations, and once you meet those expectations, I think you have a world of possibilities. So now I think we just focus on putting something together where we just enjoy this process, and we keep on building on it, and we let everything else we just leave everything else into the hands of the others that see what we're putting together.
Michelle Vopel, ESPN.
Yeah, this is for Candace, please. Candace, you mentioned, watching older players, and obviously we have a 43-year-old in the Super Bowl. You have older players in the NBA, and Sue and Diana are still playing. Has that baseline changed in terms of what you can expect as a player? Years ago, 35 might have been near the end. Now, even though you say you have more behind you, you still have a lot in front of you. And also, I guess if you could talk about that, but also then what it means as a role model and somebody to give advice to younger players like a Diamond DeShields. What does that mean to you to be able to come into Chicago and do that?
Well, I'll answer your second question first. To be able to leave something, I think all of us, especially within this last year, have really been able to reflect, and especially for me, these last 5 years without Coach Summit, of the impact that she's left on my career, as well as the impact that Kobe Bryant and the imprint he left on not just the NBA, but on the WNBA. And so when you start talking about legacy and what people are leaving behind, and then we're going to take that blueprint and share it with our kids, or share it with our rookies, or share it with our younger players. And so as a vet, to be able to impact, different players in the future, and then they go on and pass that on, I think that's special. I still have Lisa Leslie, I talked to her the other day, Delisha Milton, we text all the time. Those are my vets. And my rookie year was tough. But those are my vets. And honestly, I think as time goes on, and you may not get it at the time, but later on, when you're able to kind of reflect on it, it's interesting. And it really adds value to your career and to your purpose. And so I think to be able to go back and we haven't even talked about Azurá Stevens, but she's just fun. I mean, long, athletic, she's amazing. And so to be able to kind of see the younger version of myself and what she can bring, I mean, as a mom, as a teammate, as whatever, to be able to impact other people is what I want to do. And then Michelle, help me out on the first question.
From an age standpoint, from an age standpoint, we're seeing, again, you have a 43-year-old in the Super Bowl. Careers are extended for different reasons. Obviously, you guys taking care of yourselves, but maybe do you feel like people in elite athletics are looking at each other and saying, "Hey, we can do this a little longer"? Do you get some boost from that happening in other sports as well as your own?
See, my main goal is to be able to beat my kids after I'm done playing. So I don't know in terms of body wise, like I still want to be able to go out and block Layla's shot. I still want to be able to like, beat her in a race. And so for me personally, it's about being able to walk away from basketball and not crawl, not limp, not hobble, but walk away. And I've been extremely fortunate in my career to be able to play as many years and hopefully many more years. But I can probably guarantee I won't be playing as long as Tom Brady, as long as Sue Bird, as long as Diana Taurasi even. So I think we've all gotten a taste of LeBron's energy and what he puts into it. And I think he's transformed the way that you prepare and how you get your body in shape. And I think that's what I'm trying to do to make sure that the years that I am extending, it's playing still great basketball.
Josh Friedman from WGN.
Thanks, Kelly. Candace, congratulations again and welcome home. Two parts. First, just what are you most excited when you come back home? What are the places you hit up? Is there, food you're craving, stuff like that? I see you smiling, but what comes to mind?
First of all, anybody that knows me knows that I am the biggest Portillo's fan ever. And so, the Sky organization, the Allie Quigley and Courtney Vandersloot, they all sent me when I signed a chocolate Portillo's cake with, hot dogs, chili cheese dog, no onions. It's unbelievable. So I will be, I just said I wanted to be in shape and I wanted to be in the best shape of my life. I need to be like that before I get to Chicago because all the food spots, Giordano's, Luminati's, Portillo's, all those healthy spots. I'm definitely going to hit up. But Chicago honestly is just food. And I'm such a foodie. And so to be able to kind of explore as an adult some of these spots, it's going to be a lot of fun.
You're making me hungry now. Yeah, it all sounds good. And then the second part was just, what does this opportunity let you do as far as the community work? And, you give back so much and to so many organizations, but to really maybe hone in on the Chicagoland area with some of the work you do outside of basketball.
Well, honestly, my main purpose coming back is just that, is to, do more in the community. And I think as we get closer and kind of figure out exactly what we want to do, but I've been, keeping my eye on individuals like Chance the Rapper and what he's doing for children and youth. I definitely would like to do something centered around education. As a mom, I realized, especially within this last year with what's going on with COVID and everything going on like that, like our kids, it's important for us to continue to push education, value education, and not just focus on the kids that, it reaches, go to the kids that maybe it doesn't. And so I think that's going to be my main purpose coming back, is to make sure to have an emphasis in our youth and in the Chicagoland area.
All right, we're gonna go to Larry Snyder with ABC. See if it's fixed now. Larry? All right, he must still be having mic issues. Candace, you did email me a question. How much would you gas you have left in the tank? Would you say, if you had to answer that question quickly?
I can assure you that if I didn't feel as though I could make it to Chicago with enough in the tank, I wouldn't play. I don't want to cheat the game. And when that day comes, I can tell you I will walk away, because I think I was raised that when you go out on the court, it's your art form. And for me, if you can't do it in that way, then you find other ways, like speaking about it and talking about it on television. And so for me, I do think I have enough left in the tank. And for what I don't have, I think the Chicago Sky and its team and its coaching staff will add to that. So I think just together, collectively, we have enough in the tank to get it done.
Awesome. And I'll add, what is your go-to Portillo's order?
I like the fish sandwich with cheese. Okay, now
What? That's a
I,
surprise. I
over,
don't think
I
anyone-
overeat. Okay, just let me express this. So fish sandwich with cheese. I like the jumbo chili cheese dog, no onions. I order a chili cheese with extra cheese for my daughter because she loves the hot dogs there. And then I order a large fry, a chocolate cake milkshake, and a chocolate cake to take home to eat later.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. That is incredible. We'll go to Howard McDowell.
Candace, hi, congratulations.
Thank you.
I've got one for you and one for James, if I could. The one I wanted to ask you about is you and I have had kind of big picture conversations about your story, your arc, and you're always so focused on the individual game, the individual season. Obviously, a process like this gives you the opportunity to think in those terms. And I wonder how much coming to Chicago, coming full circle, all of those things, as far as the way you're defining your story, were important as much as the other things we've talked about on the course of this conversation.
Big picture, it's important to reflect on, from time to time. And I think you're right. I think as athletes, we get so focused on the next game and, the next week and things like that. And we realize, we look up and 13 years later, like time has wings. And I do believe in things coming full circle. And I do believe in perfect storms and the right time. And just reflecting, I'm so grateful for the 13 years that I had in LA, the people, the relationships, the experiences, the memories. And so I've had time in these last couple of days, especially to really reflect and to really be appreciative for my time there. But then with that being said, I think even more of a gap of time, like realizing when I left Chicagoland area, when I left Naperville and I went to Knoxville, I was 18 years old and I'm coming back a lot older. And so I think with that being said, time has wings and I'm definitely not going to take for granted this opportunity. And, I think I've learned a lot, but also with reflecting, I'm very appreciative to have the opportunity to even come back and play basketball here.
I appreciate it, Candace. And James, my question for you is, from day one, you have made it clear, championship is the goal. You talked about being a playoff team from your time arriving there, and you have been. I wonder to what extent you viewed adding Candace as a final piece to a puzzle you've obviously been trying to create since day one, and whether anything other than a championship is something you feel would be acceptable when you think about the goals for 2021.
I mean, it's a process, right? When staff, when we first got on, I thought it was important to actually develop them and give them the confidence, so they can see themselves as winners, because I think it kind of, it's something that feeds, it's like a virus, a good virus or a bad virus. If you're winning, then that becomes a part of your DNA, and so the last 2 years, I felt like we've made strides, but never to the point where it was consistent. I think coming into 2020, a lot of people had expectations from us, and I felt like we worked the right way. We talked the right way. We had a good chemistry, but I just felt like it was a missing piece, of course. And you want someone with you that has those expectations, that has that experience, and someone that you can put in a situation and that they're dependable. And so I felt like, and we as a staff felt like Candace, she checked all those boxes. And if you put her with our team, then you could say, okay, now we have expectations and we have goals that are very realistic. Now my job is to try to put everything together, but also at the same time focus on the process and not get too ahead of myself. And doing that, being a young coach, that will keep me from being too high or being too low, and not just going on a whim, but actually focusing on the process of building something and getting better every day. So you won't hear like championship talk out of my voice. I think, you know, if that's the expectation for us, that'll be the expectation. But my goal is to make sure that we play championship basketball, but every day. And if I focus on that, I think that will be enough to get us where we need to go.
Thank you both.
Hey, my question's for Candace, if that's all right. Aria Schwartz, Winsider, by the way. Candace, obviously you have connections with these players on this roster, right? And on paper, stylistically, this looks like a perfect fit. Coach talked about it, and you talked about it a little bit, from defense, leadership, but also education of younger players. We haven't really talked about your playing style fit with this team. And I'm curious, not to put you to work, but if you could kind of put your analysis hat on and talk to me about how you feel your fit is stylistically with not only the coaches, but this team.
Well, one of the biggest things for me personally, especially, as I've kind of transitioned into this new wave of the way that the game is played, is being able to rebound the ball and go. And I think providing space is a huge benefit in the league today. And I think, you can look at the different teams that have won in the past and the type of style that they play. And the type of style that they play, I think, is what we're trying to do or trying to accomplish. Obviously, we're going to put a little spin on it, ourself, but at the same time, being able to play fast, being able to demand space in your shooting, in your creation. And I also, I don't think that everybody on this team has to have the ball in their hands to be effective. And with that being said, I think just high IQ, being able to play off one another. I'm eager to learn the system. I've already talked to Coach Wade about getting video and things like that to be able to learn my teammates. And I think they're going to want to learn me and how I play. And I think that's important. So for me personally, just putting on my analyst hat, I think that this has an opportunity to be great. Now on the defensive end, we have to get better on that end as well, so that we can get out and play fast. And so I think just willing to listen, willing to hear each other. And then I've been through, like, I've watched the Sky in the way that they lost 2 years ago to Vegas. And I've been in that same spot. So I think sometimes it's also being able to relate. There's so many times where my season has ended on a last second shot, and it just replays over and over and over in your mind. So I think sometimes having a shared goal, a common place of where you can relate, kind of brings people together. And so I think it's the perfect storm.
Maddie Kenny.
Hi. Okay. So I've talked to James Wade over the last 2 years about this, but the WNBA is still really young, considered, comparing it to like the NBA, NFL, and in Chicago in particular, it's a saturated sports market. There's two MLB teams, NFL, NBA, etc. And so growing the women's game is obviously something that the team is still working on doing. It's made a lot of strides over the last 2 years. But how do you think you coming to Chicago, it's already generated a lot of buzz with people saying they want to buy your jersey, or, they're going to get season tickets and stuff like that. But how do you think your arrival could help grow the WNBA's presence in the city?
Well, I hope just, I think first and foremost for the WNBA, a lot of people that don't give it a chance haven't ever been to a game. And for me personally, I know from experience, I'm not a big hockey fan. I went and played in Russia, and I went to a hockey game, and I've been to a couple LA Kings games. I hope to go to some Blackhawk games out here. So you got to give it a chance. And so with that, I hope that this buzz will get people to WNBA games for the first time. And then from there, then we can grow our audience and grow the experience. I think just in this summer and what the WNBA has represented towards social justice and, our campaigns towards that, a lot of our ratings and things like that have gone up just from people giving it a chance and tuning in and getting to know us, from the orange hoodie, where we can thank Kobe for the orange hoodie, from the orange hoodie to social injustice, the bubble, our ratings are going up and it's trending up. And I think generations have been able to be passed down in terms of being Cubs fan. I'm a Cubs fan, Bulls fans. But the WNBA is 25 years young. And with that comes growing pains. And people forget that the NBA was on tape delay in the early 90s and 80s. Their playoffs were on tape delay. And nobody today would be able to believe that. But at the same time, it's about constant growth. It's about pushing forward. And I think it's taking steps. And we're doing that as a whole in the WNBA. And now with the Chicago Sky, we've always been pushing forward. It's always been fun to come back and play in Chicago. And I think Chicago is ready and has always embraced women's basketball.
Cheryl Ray Stout with WBEZ.
Hi, Candace. Portillo's is great. My husband, son, and I go there every Friday now during the quarantine.
Please hit me up. I'm there.
What's it been like for you these last several days, knowing that coming here has really, really pumped up you, the Sky, and does it validate your decision?
I feel as though, yes, just more so, I think speaking with my teammates, I think that was my main thing, was making sure that, and Coach Wade can attest to this, just making sure that they were okay and they wanted me to return and they wanted me to be a part of what they were trying to build. And so from that, I think if anything validated it more, it was just the outreach from them and, the connection that we've tried to establish to this point, and we will continue to build that relationship, but also this city for sure. I talked about my grandma. Just to me, I'm the biggest Bears and Bulls fan. And so to see them tweet about it, made my day yesterday on the plane. So I think it's just the entire city embracing that. And then obviously, friends and families that have reached out from my hometown in Naperville. So I think I'm excited. I'm just as excited. And, I really do feel as though my heart led me back to Chicago.
Is there anything scary about leaving something that you've been doing for 13 years and going someplace else?
Of course, it's uncomfortable. It's scary. But because of that fear, I don't think I would not do something, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
From what I've learned in my career and from what I've learned in my life, like you grow in those uncomfortable times and you grow in those times where, maybe you might be a little bit unsure about it, but it's the right decision. And so for me, I'm so thankful and so lucky to have played for an amazing organization. With the Sparks, Eric Holloman was fantastic in my tenure there as well, just management. And so it is difficult to leave, but in a way it's like, I'm getting the best of both worlds. I'm still living in LA in the winters, and I get to come to Chi City in the summer. And so I think it's just overall, I was able to add a home, I would say, during these 13 years. That's still going to be home permanent. And I'm excited to be a part of the Chicago Sky.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
We have time for a couple more questions, just about two more. Andrew Seligman from AP.
Yeah, hi, James. Just wondering if you could give us a little more insight on in terms of just how the process played out, who contacted who first, and when the contact was made. Did you have any inkling that Candace was going to be interested in coming home? Had somebody tipped you off about that? Just anything along those lines?
Well, I reached out to her agent, and I talked to her agent, and I don't know how the contact evolved on her end, but I know that once free agency started, she was aware of our interests, and from there we set up a time that we can meet, we could talk, and we talked, and then we set up a time that we could meet. And it just evolved from there. Numerous phone calls and reaching out via text message. Also, our players, they reached out at their own accord, and they reached out to me. They's like, hey, so can I call her? Should I call her? And I was like, hey, yeah, please do. And because they were eager to bring her on board, and ownership, and everybody reached out and just to let her know, how important she would be, how important she would mean to us. My main goal was to make sure that she was comfortable. I know that this is a hard decision for her, being the iconic player that she is, but also what comes with that, you get identified with the jersey that you're wearing. So we knew it was a hard decision, but we reached out. I don't think we overly reached out. I was, it's a little balance that you have with that. But as far as those proper steps, the first step was reaching out to her agent and letting her know how interested we were, and then from her side, being responsive to that, and being willing to meet up, and being willing to touch base with us.
Thanks.
All right, last question will be Eric Wilson.
Hey, Candace, I just wanted to ask you, and thank you very much, Kelly. I appreciate it. So, this being Black History Month, with all the change that we've seen and of course, the first female vice president, Kamala Harris, you seem to be one of those women who want to leave that kind of legacy and make that impact. Can you just speak to, outside of basketball, what are some of the initiatives and things that you are doing to continue the conversation of social injustices?
Well, fortunately, this summer has opened a lot of eyes to the need to continue to do work within this country. And I think that, it is a process. And I think we all realize that, to be a part of the WNBA has always been at the forefront of change. And I say that saying that our league is 80% African-American, from different socioeconomic backgrounds, LGBTQ community, different religions, you name it. We are the majority of the minority in this country. And so within the WNBA, we understand our responsibility, to give a voice to the voiceless. And with that being said, I think after everything, with the bubble, I had an opportunity to join D Wade, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul in the Social Change Fund. And a lot of what we're trying to do is, to level the playing field. And that goes across the board, not just stretching just to race. And I'll speak to just in terms of sport and how important it is, people, try to devalue women's sports. And I think it's important to understand that, yes, there are those that play professionally, but having an opportunity as a little girl to play sports, having an opportunity to be out there and be seen in a leadership role, and to learn the type of life skills that you need to be able to be successful in life. I mean, the boardroom is run like a locker room, is run like a sports team. And so I think it's so important for us to continue to emphasize how important it is for young girls to play team sports, so that little boys and little girls can both see women in different roles. And so we're seeing the benefits of an entire generation seeing women in those roles. And so I think just continuing work and leveling the playing field with Social Change Fund, but also